Lara and Marc, welcome to the Authentic Human podcast. I'm so happy to have you guys. You guys reached out because you have a few questions, and I'm just going to pass it over to you guys so you can give us the story about how you ended up here today.
Hmm, that's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we decided that we would really love to conceive a baby. And it was quite a journey for us. I think it's already going on for 1.5 years. At least for me, I really felt like 1.5 years ago that I and we were ready. And yeah, for you, it was it needed a little longer. So it was really a
Yep.
process of communicating and um, yeah, to find each other.
Yes.
And on the moment that we really felt both, like we want to do this, then we thought, okay, let's find when are we going to do this? Let's find a time to do
Yeah,
it.
a time frame kind of when to do it. And yeah, we decided for the last summer, for our summer vacation, that this would be a good phase to start and to start exploring and start to see it as a game and to just dive into it.
I love that.
Yeah,
Love that. So, you guys have watched the videos, the conversations that I've had about conscious conception, which is
exactly.
ultimately okay. So that's what prompted you to reach out. So you've done a little bit. Yep.
Yeah, it's maybe nice to tell because we decided like on the holiday, like okay, then we want to start. And on the moment that we were in the car driving to our destination, then we thought, hey, let's dive into like how does this work? How do you do that conception actually? And we cannot do it just do it. And then we bumped into your podcast. And that
Okay.
was a moment for us that we thought, oh, we cannot just start with this. It felt so aligned. And yeah, we really thought, okay, we want to pick out of this podcast what feels and resonates with us and also do it super conscious because yeah.
Yeah, and this
Because
moment,
sorry, go ahead.
Yes.
yeah, and this moment was then really the point, like, okay, we need to stop, to breathe, to see how we will now continue because it was clear for us that we will not just go and do it. So this was the moment where we said, okay, we need to listen to this again. We need to put it into slices. We need to take out our truth out of it.
Yep.
And yeah, then we ended up here now, more or less.
Fantastic. I know you guys mentioned you have a few questions, so I'm gonna pass it over to you in a minute to ask them, and then we're gonna get all the information from both of your souls and from the potential of the soul that you're not creating a soul together, you're creating an opportunity for a soul to come in, that's what you're creating together, which is right. That's what we do when we bring new life into this world, right? It's creating that opportunity, and it's beautiful. So you guys have chosen a date, I that to conceive, okay, and they are asking me if we need to start here. So if you share with me your date and the reason that you picked it, could you do that?
Yes, we can do that. You want to do that or me?
Yeah, so it's soon. It's the 4th of October
Okay.
and
And fifth.
5th. Yeah. So
Okay.
like 84, no, 48 hours.
Okay.
It was like we didn't have really an idea. We thought about the equinox, but then
Yep.
it was like, oh, that's a little bit too early. We need some more time. And
Yeah,
then,
it was like, oh, there was a lot of things that went that in like where we came to this date, but it was also being realistic with our planning, with our
Yep.
daily life and the weekend that we both have time and can can totally keep free. And yeah, I think it just also felt good, this moment, this date.
Okay, awesome. So I want you guys to try to be open in case that date will change depending on the information that you're about to receive. Okay. And the reason they're sharing that is because there may be a better date for you both and for the baby. Okay. This is where we have to, so I can feel your excitement and your joy. Like you're just like, okay, now we know, let's go, right? Like you're doers, both of you. You're like, okay, tell me what to do. We're going to go do it and we're going to make it happen. And, you know, the beauty of this experience is recognizing that you're changing both of your lives, right? You're stepping into a recognition of your level of participation in your life in a whole new way. And so this is where when you can step into that authority almost, right? It's that authority, but it's also that recognition of who you're being, right? The fact that you chose, you're choosing to participate in conscious conception. What happens is you open a whole new world to a level of souls and consciousness that you can now interact with, that it really is next level. Okay. So for me, when I chose to meet my son, it was, you know, a 3-4 month process of my body needing to be prepared, my mind, my emotions needing to be prepared, as much as going through all of the physical preparations. And so, I mean, there was a time where I was in bed for 3 days straight and I couldn't move because they were realigning my central nervous system. And so, you know, you have the option and the opportunity to go to that level, right? When you go to that level, now you're creating a space to bring in a soul of that level as well.
Mm.
Right. And I feel like um, you're both ready for a different level of challenge. You know, so let's go into that part a little bit. You know, you both understand your role in this. It's funny, you know, and what I mean by understanding your role in this is your awareness at your age, right, is next level. It's not as common in your friends and in your family. And so it's something that you're having to work harder at staying committed to, if that makes sense, right? It's making sure you guys stay. And the beautiful thing is you have each other. So you know already you're creating a world where it doesn't really matter what it looks like to everyone else. You're always going to have each other. And so the most important thing that you guys do in preparation is strengthening that bond. That's what you're strengthening more than anything else, because you guys are doing this together. Okay. And so it's being able to share and talk about every aspect. So what you're doing is you're learning intimacy at a conscious level, right? So intimacy in the sense of sharing all the pieces of you, all the parts of you, like those questions that you have that, you know, you're even holding back from asking them in your own space. So this is what you want to be cultivating between the two of you. Why they're saying that is because it's going to trigger like an avalanche of awareness that's going to come through in the next few months. Okay. Now, yeah. So just be open as we go through this conversation to potentially waiting maybe another month or two, only because you're ready for that level. Okay. And I don't know if you guys paid attention or if I even mentioned it in my last ones, if it was there, but they do say to not have any intercourse at all leading up. So once you've decided that you're going to conceive, there's no sexual intercourse at all because you're building the energy up. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Awesome. And the great part, again, now you're building intimacy on a level that it will explode. Like, not because it's built up so much that you can't keep it together, but because you're building the vibration of love, compassion, respect, purity, truth to a level that once it connects, everything becomes possible. It's incredible. Okay. So yes. Okay. So you guys ask, because I know you have questions. So this is your chance. Ask your questions and I'm going to answer them. Okay.
Yeah, and I also want to say that I truly hear what you say. And I think I already feel a part of that, the time that we're now doing this and chose a date and set our intention list, that I already feel that build up between us. Like the first week we decided for this, we had so much questions. And now already when we talk to you 2 weeks later, it's already calmed down and we feel more secure about it. And so I do follow you when you say, like, when you build that up in months, that where you can end up then.
It's amazing. Yes, I have goosebumps. I have goosebumps because that you got it 100%. It's a conscious effort in how you're choosing to use your energy. And you're literally directing it into creating an opportunity for life and existence to collide in a way that's never been experienced before.
And it's almost that I can't get to it with my mind. Like we
Nope.
do this now, but I can't get really, it's almost feels surrealistic or something,
Yeah.
huh?
Yep, exactly.
Like it's another life somehow. It's like,
Mm.
yeah, something completely different than
Yes.
what we've ever experienced.
Yeah.
And you can only feel it. You can't put words to it because there aren't enough words in any human language to encompass the full vibration of that energy. Period. So, and ultimately, that's what you're doing, right? You're getting accustomed to speaking to each other through energy rather than needing words, right? Because that's conception, that's gestation, and that's birth, right? You want to be really in that space of embodying those aspects of existence. So, all right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if I'm now thinking about that, it could even be a little later, the conception. What are exercises, practices, methods to make it less harder that in between of not having the sexual activity?
That's a good question. So ultimately, it's using intimacy in a way that challenges you. And what they mean by challenging is to go deeper, to share more of yourself, but without doing it through your body. So having to use words, having to use experiences where you be together and you feel each other without physically feeling each other. Okay. So sometimes it'll be, going for a walk or doing something that maybe going on a picnic, even in the winter, it doesn't matter. It's being able to do things together that don't need to end in physical touch, because we've lost a lot of our capacity for intimacy because we use physical touch as an outlet rather than our ability to connect on a deep and meaningful level. Okay. So what you want to be talking about is what makes you feel seen and heard. That should always be the beginnings of every conversation you have. It also should be the foundation for any time you're having a disagreement, is that you come back to, why don't I feel seen or heard? And when you can put those things into words clearly, right, without the emotional reaction that wants to come, right? The anger, the frustration, right? What will happen is you're building a level of intimacy you haven't yet experienced and explored. This is the level of intimacy that is needed to consciously bring a human into this world, but to raise that child consciously themselves. See, that's the other part, right? Is you're prepared. Like, yes, you're conceiving. Yes, you want to have a child, but why do you want to have a child? Right? Most people focus on what that child is going to bring to them. But what are you guys going to bring this child? This is what your time is spent doing. So you're having conversations about what life is going to be like with this human. Because it's going to be a tiny human, but it's going to be as big as you guys one day. What does that mean? What does that look like? Who are you going to be for that child through its formative years? You're going to talk about your greatest challenges when you were a child, your greatest challenges when you were a teenager, what you would have wanted to have it happen for you to make you feel seen and heard at every one of your greatest challenges. Why? Because then when your child starts going through those experiences, you're going to be able to go back and go, do you remember when you said, because you were going through this? And you're not going to be attacking each other. You're not going to be frustrated with each other, right? Your communication is going to be unbelievable because you're starting it now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you're replacing physical touch with intimacy on a level that is getting to know your partner emotionally in a way that you probably don't even know yourselves yet. And you're going to even get to know yourself that well through that process. It's unbelievable.
And do you then also say that we are, as human, we are nowadays, we are used to stepping too fast into the sexual intimacy instead of communicating and the emotional level?
That's our culture, right? The culture all around the world is sex is the thing we do to blow off steam. It's the thing we do to be able to fall asleep at night. Like, there's so many people who use it as a tool because they don't know how to decompress, how to relax, how to connect with their partner, right? And here's the thing, we've been taught that it's an enjoyable aspect of life. Why deprive yourself from it, right? So we've made it into it's not sacred anymore. And the reality is, it's the most intimate aspects of your physical form that you're sharing with another human. And in order to gift that experience and that opportunity with another human, you first need to be able to feel seen and heard, period. Because otherwise, the lovemaking will be limited because you won't be able to communicate the fullness of yourself in that physical environment either. Do you see what I mean? So you're building an intimacy where anything and everything can be talked about, no matter what, free of shame, free of guilt, free of fear, free of judgment.
Yeah.
So now, as a couple, you become unstoppable.
Yeah, exactly. Now, what you now sum up is what I also already experienced in the 1.5 year that we have these conversations about me already wanting to have this like together now and him needing more time. And when I reflected back on it, I really thought, wow, with this man, I could show like all my emotions. I could cry, I could be angry, I could be anything, and he was listening to me, hearing me, but still stayed respectful. And I thought, wow, I think we needed this period to come to this decision now, to really truly see each other as a partner. And yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I really love your recognition of we're only strong when we're on the same page, when we're together. And it's being able to give each other the time and space we need to come to that place together, because everything happens how it's meant to, right? it's the greatest love stories are the ones where you continuously fall in love with the person that your partner becomes every stage of their life, right? It's not that you stay in love with that same person and need them to stay the same, right? You let them change and then you fall in love with them all over again. And they fall in love with you because you continuously change, right? Those are the greatest love stories. And that's what you're doing is you're falling in love with parts of each other that you haven't yet met, because ultimately there are parts of yourself that you haven't met yet. And it's beautiful, right?
Yes.
So tell me, what else is it from the sacred ceremony, the sacred conception and preparing? So we've got the physical aspects. Okay. So what else are we looking for?
So for us, I think we have our intention list, and that was super beautiful. We already created a beautiful little ceremony together, and to come together with all the intentions and gifts we have for this baby. But for us, the most hard thing, I think, is creating a list of people, like family, friends. Like the question is, do you think it's important to involve all friends and family, or is it just with the people that you at this moment in time feel a special connection with?
Okay. Such a great question. Okay. So what you're doing is creating future ancestors. If you think about it, you're creating future lines of generations to come. Okay. And so when you look at it that way, it's being able to go, okay, I want to give our whole family a say in future generations. This is how I look at it. The people that are intimate with you, in the sense of who are you taking with you? So you may not have close connections with all family members and all of your friends, but they're there for a reason. They're there for one capacity or another in your life because you enjoy spending time with them in whatever it is. Okay. So I give everyone the opportunity to participate. If they choose not to, that's okay. I don't get angry or upset because they may not want to, or they may feel uncomfortable because they're not sure how to participate. So this is where the invitation matters. Okay. So just for viewers who may not have watched the other episodes on conscious conception, and I detailed the whole ceremony and how it unfolds. Basically, you go to friends and family members and ask them if they would like to contribute to your sacred conception ceremony. Now, they're not obviously going to be present because that would be awkward. But what you're doing is you're asking for their blessing. You're asking for them to recognize that you're choosing to bring another human into your family line. And you would love the piece of wisdom that they have about family and what that means to be shared. Okay. Now, this looks different in different ways, right? I asked family members. Now, not everybody chose to participate in the way I asked, and that's fine. I asked them, and this was the intention, to share an object with us that meant something to them. Okay. Now, they just shared it. We had it at the ceremony and then we returned it. Okay. There was a couple people who didn't quite get it and they purchased an item and gave it to us. And that's fine. We put it in the bowl
And use it.
we did because they still participated, right? It's not that it's their intention was, we're not sure exactly how to do this, but we still want to be a part of it. That was fantastic. They put effort in. So absolutely we use it, right? And that's the thing, is understanding that you're receiving their love and their blessing, right? And we received some beautiful, like one of them, my aunt shared a Bible that was like, I don't know, 150 years old, that has been in my family, and family name, like the names of all the children as they were born were written in this. And so she shared that with me. And then I gave it back, with the next time I saw her. Another aunt on the other side of the family, they shared an item that they purchased that when they first fell in love, and it symbolized their love. Right. And it was a piece of stone that was carved into a heart. And so that was part of our ceremony. So, and then what you can do is you can do it two ways. You can ask them for a piece of wisdom. Okay. Or, and if they don't have wisdom to share, or they're not really sure, when you're in the ceremony, okay, and you place that item in the bowl and you say, this is from your aunt and uncle, whatever their names are. And, they wanted to share with you and with us what this part, and share what it is. Or you can say, you know, and I talk about them. Like we would talk about them like we're having a conversation, just like when your child is born and you're like, and you're going to meet your aunt and uncle and they're amazing because this is what, we love them because they, are so creative here and they're, loving here and their kindness is next level. And that's it. It's not formal in the sense of, we're placing it in and we're being very formal, like in a church kind of thing. It's understanding, again, it's all about communication. And it's the intimacy of being able to share the excitement that you're bringing them into the fold, but it's also being able to prepare, right? You're preparing this tiny baby for all the people that it's going to meet when it comes and chooses you guys, right?
Yeah, that's also exactly the approach that we now did. So we had already two of these talks. We didn't do it actually with the question beforehand
Yeah, that's
if they want to be part
yeah,
of
we
it.
didn't ask if they
We just said we have some questions for them. Let's
Talk.
meet up, let's talk. Yeah. And all in all, preparing for that was also thinking about that person. What can it contribute? What are the beautiful parts of that person, of that soul, of that human being? And how can those beautiful parts help us and that new soul to, yeah, to live its full potential, to be here, to
Right.
yeah, to spread love and to make the world a beautiful place or to
Right.
a beautiful place. Yeah.
It's beautiful. And it's also remembering that if there's people in our family, maybe that we don't connect as deeply with or as easily to, it's being able to approach them in a way that says, I know you've had immense challenges in your life. You've gone through things that I don't understand, that I can't begin to understand. And I'd love for you to share some of that wisdom with our child. And we'd love our child to know your story, right? Because now you're holding the sacredness of your family line and you're saying to these people, you're sacred. You're in this family line. You're important. So you're changing the history of your family, particularly in the ways where, right? Where we treat each other sometimes at an arm's length because we don't understand each other, right? So you're opening layers and levels and different directions, I guess, of communication that maybe haven't been there before. So don't worry about it. This isn't about people not getting it and people going, oh, you're not supposed to say anything because you don't tell anybody that you're pregnant until you're at least 3 months, because what happens if something happens? The reality is, if something happens, it's because the baby is preparing your body and it's meant to happen that way. And they're going to come back again, right? They come back as many times as they need to until your body is at the level of vibration that they need to come in. It's just how it works. But if you can prepare it Before, it doesn't need to happen that way.
And then we come back to the beginning of this podcast, what you say, maybe you need a little bit more time.
Exactly. Because if you can raise your vibration before you conceive, it's a lot faster. It's a lot more efficient and effective, right? And our brains are like, but I want to happen now because now I'm excited and now we want it.
Yeah.
Right? And I get it. I totally get it. But at the same time, if you can avoid heartbreak and wait a couple months because that's the divine timing that your body and your emotions and your physical, mental, emotional self need to bring you to that state of deep connection with each other, it's a no-brainer, right? It's like, oh, we can relax into being together, getting to know each other and preparing because this baby is coming. It's not hiding from you. It's excited in what you're doing. And your job is to get to know that baby as well as you possibly can before you even conceive. How do you do that? By sharing all the parts that you're excited about your lives to share and all the things you're excited to learn about the baby, right? You want to learn what makes them happy, right? You want to learn what makes them curious. These are the conversations you want to have, right? What are the things you want to share with them? What opportunities are you going to give this child that the soul that's the right one goes, oh my gosh, that's for me, guys. I'm the one for you and you're the ones for me. That's what you want, right? It's so cool. Okay.
Something practical, like when you talk to a couple, do they give one thing or do they give each a thing to contribute to the ceremony?
Whatever feels right. There's
Okay.
no rules. There's no rules. I had a couple, one gave a ring that had been in her family for generations, and another gave a watch that he had received as a young child and, still had. And again, they're sharing it so that the energy and the intention can be included and infused into your ceremony. And then you're saying, that's it. We just want your energy and the magic of you to be part of our baby's life. And then once the sacred ceremony is done, and then, within a couple weeks, we'll bring it back to you. We're not keeping this item. We're just borrowing it, but you want it to mean something to them. Because if it means something to them, then that means that that person is willing to give. They're showing how they're going to participate in the baby's life, right? And so some people are going to want to give more energetically, and some people are like, oh, I'm not really sure. Maybe I'll just buy something. And that's okay. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It just means that's where they are right now. And if you guys allow yourselves to feel that, then you can go, okay, so together, this person, we need them to know we love and respect them. We need them to feel like they can share more with us, right? So you can be able to go, okay, this is a relationship that we need to work on a bit more. And this one, right? Again, you're learning through all of this, which is beautiful. Yeah.
And do you involve pets in this conversation?
I do, because we have lots. Yes, I absolutely do. And I had baby teeth from my animals that when they fell out. So that's what I took. It could be a collar. It could be anything that, it could be anything. It could be like, if it's a cat, it could be a cat bed. It doesn't matter. You can wash it, bring it, put it into the bowl, and it's a safe place for you to play and to love. And this is your new, this is the person, this is the animal that you're going to have so much fun with, right? So absolutely, 100%. Yep. Yeah.
So
And
that also answers my question, maybe like children, babies in the belly.
yep. Yep. It's everything. Like if you are living in a home that you're going to be in for, if you're going to be there for a few years, right? And that baby is going to be born into that space, include that space. Maybe there's a tree outside and ask the tree, can I take a leaf? Can I take a couple leaves off of you? And include those. Or, maybe you're going to find a piece of bark on the ground, right? And just ask the tree, like they will give you blessings. You watch the natural world too, outside, the wild birds. Ask them how they want to participate. You're going to start to see the whole world come alive, which is amazing. Yeah. Yeah. Gosh, there's so much. Yeah. And kids, even if you have like young children already in your family, maybe you have nieces and nephews, if they're younger, ask them to draw. Ask them to draw pictures of themselves. And because they're putting effort into visualizing, oh my gosh, I'm going to have a cousin. Like, that's fantastic, right? There's ways that everyone can participate. It's just following your instincts and asking them to participate, and then opening the door to what that could look like, but not having any rules of what it needs to look like.
Mhm. Yeah,
Right?
that's beautiful. And I guess there is no right or wrong. So there is
No.
just right in a way. And that's also where my next question is leading to a little bit. Like, there is the conscious conception where now all this conversation is about. But what are the next steps of like conscious birthing, in general, conscious parenting? What are then like the next steps to continue that path of this conscious conception, to not just keep it a easy conscious conception, to follow these steps and to go and continue this path?
Okay. Super cool question. Um, Very cool. If you want, we can actually follow this journey together. We can do this all the way through. And we can continue to have conversations every couple months as you're going through the journey, through gestation, so that we can continue to stay in connection with your souls and the baby soul if you want. I think that'd be kind of cool to see all the way through. So for me, it was very simple. I knew who I was conceiving because I met his soul first. Well, at first I met my daughter and then my son. But my daughter was a miscarriage because she was coming in to prepare me for my son. But that's just how it works. And because I understood it, the healing from that was very quick. It was weeks, just weeks. It was 3 weeks actually. And then I was able to conceive again, which was fascinating and amazing. Now, that being said, once I conceived, within a couple weeks, my son came in and said, "This is the day I'm going to be born. This is how much I'm going to weigh. This is where I want to be born. Like everything. This is how I want to be birthed. He wanted to be birthed outside." And I was like, well, that's going to be a stretch. But we did do it at home. They'll tell you everything, so that what happens is the fear goes away, right? Because so much of our culture around gestation and birth is based on fear, and a complete opposite. Like, we're built to do this. It's actually not painful. I know that sounds crazy, and I know every time I say it, there's so many people that get angry. But the reality is, what happens in the body is that your body demands every part of your attention. It makes sure that you cannot focus on anything else. The narrative has turned that into, it's painful, it's bad, it's right. You need to be fully present because you're meant to. And so everything that your body instinctually tells you to do, we need to follow it. And it's really about finding that courage. The closest physical representation is something called hypnobirthing. I don't know if do they have it where you are? Have you looked into that? Okay. So that's the closest I have found, and that is in alignment with this. But that being said, the baby is driving every single thing that happens. Everything in your body, in your relationship, in the evolution, in the birth, everything is determined by this tiny human, but by the soul. They know when they're meant to be birthed, how it's going to happen. They know everything. Okay. And so when you understand that and you surrender to that, the fears of everything else go away, because the baby's going to tell you where it needs to be born, how it needs to be born, and who is meant to be there, so that you don't need to go, well, should we have the baby at home? Should we have the baby in a hospital? How is this going to work? Are we going to feel? It's understanding that you're going to know. And if you follow your instincts and what you know, because the baby's going to share it with you, right? So once you become pregnant, okay, this is the so you're going to have the ceremony and then you're pregnant. There's no not pregnant time in between. There's no like, maybe we are, maybe we're not. You have the ceremony, you're pregnant. Okay. It's just a knowing. It's just happened. Like there's no, oh, maybe. It just is. And when you allow, that's what you're building the intimacy and the awareness of. Okay. So that when you have the ceremony, it's understanding that this has occurred and now is a part of who we are. We were 2 and now we're 3, period. It just is what it is. And so once you're 3, now everything you do is with that awareness. So right now, everything you guys do is with the awareness of you are 2.
Yes.
That's what you're building the awareness of. That's why you're building that intimacy, so that everything you do is with the awareness that you're 3. That's all. So once you're 3, how are you meant to experience life? Right? That's the next question. And so it's understanding that your relationship with the baby is going to change into something that is physically tangible as well as energetically, in the sense that every part of, so this is what science will say, these are the emotions, right? The doctor will tell you, oh, these are your hormones that are triggering all these emotions. Okay. No, what's happening is you're becoming so open energetically that you have full awareness of what is going on inside of your body and with your baby at all times. 100%. That's what's happening. Why? Why do you need to know that? Because you need to know what your body needs, what your baby's body needs, and how to keep that in balance at all times. That's a lot of work, right? That's immense amounts of information that you're taking in all the time. Okay. Right now, you're doing it just for yourself. And you can ignore it whenever you want, because it's only you that's going to suffer, right? How many times do we be like, oh God, I didn't sleep last night because I was out and I had to do this thing and I'm still going to work today, but I'm exhausted, right? You can ignore that you didn't get any sleep and you're still exhausted, but you're going to go to work. No, you can't do that when you have a baby. When you're pregnant, you can't ignore anything. You can.
It's already the part what we do in the preparation, like talking about the 3 of us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're talking about everything, because when you get to that level of now I'm pregnant, things are going to happen, not just to your physical body. Yes, those are going to happen, but things are going to happen emotionally and mentally to both of you that you've never experienced before. Right? So the other part is, a lot of men are out there walking around going, well, there's nothing I can do right now. She's the one carrying the baby. Right. But that's not true, because you're the one whose job is to wholly keep sacred and protect the connection between mother and child. That's your job. So if anyone is threatening that connection, your job is to remove them. So let's say there's a family member that's like, I want to tell you about how scary my birth was. And you're like, this is not, Lara's like, I don't want to hear this. Marc, your job is to go, okay, thank you so much. I'm so glad we came to visit, but we're going to go home. Laura needs a nap. It's so simple, but that's your job of removing them without being forceful, without being mean. But it's recognizing this is what Laura needs because you guys are so intimate on your connection level. You read that from across the room. You could feel her energy shift and change, right? And then all of a sudden, you notice she's tired. She's way more tired than she usually is. And so all of a sudden you're like, okay, so now that we're 3, what do these 2 need from me so that they can remain in balance and in deep connection so that that's your job, is to make that happen. And that's the most important job because especially in the world we live in these days, because you're literally protecting that sacred space. So, because remember, the moment you guys conceive, that child is now absorbing every bit of energy either of you put out into the world. Everything. That's why you want to get so clear on your communication before. Makes sense now, right? But it's also really cool because whatever position or situation you are in, the baby's absorbing it. Everything. That's where we learn so much about who our parents are, is when we're in utero. So cool. So it's not thinking, oh, they don't know what we're talking about. They 100% do. They're feeling the energy of every single thing. So your job, Marc, at that point is keep it sacred. So you guys need to know what sacred means for you guys. You guys need to know what sacred means for you and your family, which is very different, right? And so you're going to talk about everything. You're going to talk about everybody's opinions. What if someone has an opinion about this or that or whatever, right? If you have animals, if you have pets, everyone's got an opinion about all the things, right? You want to talk about school. What's your vision of education for your child? What's your vision of raising them? How are you going to work? Or are you going to work? Or are you going to stay home? All of that now, because that's your child's life, right? It doesn't mean that that's how it's going to go forever. It means you guys are learning how to talk about every possibility and that you understand how to communicate through all the possibilities, through all the challenges, through all the different perspectives of everyone. So the best part right away off the bat is, just asking people to participate in your ceremony, because right there, you're learning how to communicate in ways you've never had to before, right?
Yes.
So cool. It's beautiful.
We are both used to speak out.
The
Now,
throat chakra sometimes a little blocked.
more and more now, but it's it's a good challenge. I have a question about when we build up this energy, like the upcoming months, then I can also believe that you open up way more fields and that you get super sensitive. And how does that connect to the outer world where we're also still doing the work? And do we want to stay more at home, or like how does that? I can imagine you're so sensitive then.
You're sensitive, but don't look at it in a bad way, right? So it's not sensitive. Oh, I feel everything, right? That's there's a lot of people who are, I'm empathic, right? And I feel all these things. It's recognizing you're feeling everything in new conscious ways. And your job is to monitor what feels right, what doesn't feel right. And if it doesn't feel right, you're not meant to be there. And being able to get so clear on that, because when you are pregnant, you don't want to walk into anywhere that doesn't feel good, because if it doesn't feel good for you, it's not going to feel good for the baby. And then, of course, you don't want to bring the new baby. Once the baby's born, you don't want to bring them there either, right? So it's getting really comfortable feeling. That's what you're doing. You're feeling your way through everything. And you're giving yourself the opportunity to heighten your ability to feel so that it is super sensitive. That's because that's how we were created to be. Was so super sensitive, we would have full awareness at all times. It's not a bad thing, and it's not something we need to protect ourselves from. It's allowing yourself to recognize, this is my superpower, and I need to use it to let me know when my old behavior was, oh yeah, it's no big deal. We'll just go hang out with them for a few hours. We'll just suffer through it, or we'll just get through it and it'll be fine. It's recognizing we don't need to do that. It's okay to say, thank you so much for thinking of us. Thank you so much for inviting us. We have other plans today, right? And not needing to justify, because that's where our downfall is. Because the moment you start justifying is where the other person's like, oh, well, that's okay. It'll only be an hour or two, right? Or where you go into, well, here's my excuse and this is why I can't. They'll have a reason. They'll have a reason. So don't give them an excuse. It's just, thank you so much for thinking of us. We love that. We just can't make it today. Super simple. Yeah. Again, communication, right? It's so cool. It's so cool. So how are you guys feeling?
Wow, it's a lot coming through, and
Yeah.
it's also super beautiful. Like I feel it.
Awesome.
I already got warm, so I had to take my
I'm sweating, so I know
are in the
exactly what you mean.
process. Yeah.
I also do have a beautiful question about the actual conception,
Yep.
because I also like to having an orgasm is like a super big energy, and I was wondering, like, are there any visualizations that you could do on that moment, or where do you think of when you are doing it together, or just let it all go?
Or
The
just be in the present, or just like think of nothing, let it all go, let it all.
Okay, so here we go.
Let's
The
go.
money question, and honestly, this is the most important question of everything. So you go through the ceremony, okay? You've put everything in the bowl, you've said all that, and then you bathe together, right? You prepare both of yourselves, and then you are you're in the process of conception. Now, this is where you're looking at each other's bodies as the sacred instrument that your child is coming through. So, this is not about sex. This is not about an orgasm. This is not about anything that we've been told sexual intimacy is. This is about understanding that you are connecting with a vessel that is going to birth a human soul into conception. Okay. And so what happens is you're now looking at your partner from the perspective of the light coming through. So it's no longer about the carnal act of sex, okay, and the physical act of it, right? It's understanding that your focus entirely is on following the energy. They will give you the pace, they will give you when to touch, where to touch, how to touch. Everything will be given if you're following the energy. So you really have to let go of what you think sex is, because this is not sex. You're conceiving, and it is something that is, it's like your whole body from the inside lights on fire, and yet it's cool to the touch still. And yet it's like you're untouchable because the energy is so big, the amount of energy that you'll both hold. So what you're visualizing, envisioning, I'm trying to say that easy, is you're building that energy for each other. So you're not building for an orgasm. You're building that energy in each other to allow them to feel the conception of your child. Right? So it's very, very different. So that in the moment that the orgasm happens, it's typically simultaneous, but it's also understanding that the energy connects, and then you can actually follow, like they'll show you, they'll follow the moment that the sperm is released. What happens is you can follow the energy of its journey into the uterus. And then once it hits the spot where they connect, right, the sperm and the egg, there's actually a spark of life that happens. So it's not in the moment of the orgasm. That's what I mean. The orgasm is not the moment. It's conception. And so the orgasms happen, but you're not even close to being done, because that's when you're following the journey, right? And so this is why, Laura's going to make sure, Marc, that your energy is so strong that the sperm has what it needs to get to that place to fulfill its mission. Do you see? And so it's like, I'm going to give you the clarity that you need, right? It's like you're giving the energy, the sperm, the energy, like the visual map, the reference of why it's going there, what it's meant to do, where it's meant to go, how it's going to get there, right? So energetically, that's what you're giving it. Does that make sense? And so Laura's side is, now, Marc, you're feeding her with this awareness of being trusting, being open, being willing to receive all things that not all women are great at doing, right? That's what you're building up over the next few months. But once you're in that conception ceremony, this is that space that says, let me love you. I want you to trust me. I want you to know that I know exactly what you need, and I know how to fulfill that for you. Let me show you. And so together, right, what you've done is you've created the opportunity for the soul, or the sperm and the egg, to come together. And in that moment, that's when the soul you'll feel it. It's like a spark of life in the room, and revel in it for as long as you want, a day, 2 days, an hour, it doesn't matter. Be in that moment, because that is the moment that soul is there, and you become 3.
I even feel more excited now.
Right? It's fun. That's the thing. It's not about doing this so that there's pressure. It's recognizing, oh, we can do all of that. Like, we get to have this much fun conceiving and explore this whole experience that we were created to have, but we've been told it's some way different. And this is it. This is the real way.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned also the second day, and maybe even a third day. During those days, can you be intimate again, or is it then, okay, that was the conception and now we leave that part?
So do it with intention. Always now touching each other with intention, because what you're going to learn in the next few months is going to bring you a level of awareness and clarity you haven't had before, and it's going to continue to grow, right? That's what you're doing, is you're building intimacy all the way through your relationship, right? That's it. And so if your connection physically is filled with intention, you're golden. Yeah, it's not just to have sex. As long as you're not doing it to fall asleep or to just have a release because you had a hard day, right? If you've had a hard day, communicate, talk about what happens. And if that becomes a physical intimacy, again, be intentional, right? And come back to those two things, right? Is, Lara, you're creating this space of letting Marc know that you're his person, right? You're the one who is his soft place to land. And, that you will always respect him first and trust him, and, allow him a place where he can be who he is no matter what, right? And vice versa. Like, this is what you're doing, right? And that's what you're strengthening, but it is doing it with intention, 100%.
Mm.
Yeah. How you feeling, guys?
How are you feeling, Lars?
Yeah, amazing. Like,
Mm.
yeah, A lot of,
Yeah, it's like a more awakening even after the podcast and then going through it together and then now hearing
yeah.
all of this. It like I feel it. I feel it and it makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more personal now too, which
Yeah.
is, yeah, that's brilliant. So I feel like I'd love if you would let us follow this journey with you. We'd love to be a part of it. I feel like you want to pick a date in November. Yeah, mid to late November, because you'll both be ready. Okay. And um, in the meantime, both of you eating high vibration foods. Okay. They keep showing me lots of green, like lettuces and like rabbits. All the things that rabbits love to eat is really what they're showing me, because those are super high vibrational foods. Okay. And so that will help also contribute to raising your physical vibration, but also they open the lines of communication even more. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for that offer. And for me, it really feels, yeah, like a big present to be able to connect with you during this process.
Yeah.
Yeah, it fully is. And yeah, like there's no coincidence. The feeling also now, and that it's also flowing so well. And yeah, it's
We're going to
amazing.
have fun. We'll have fun together. You guys do all the intimate stuff, and I just get to communicate with the
Yeah.
baby and share all the information. And you know what? I think that first I want to also thank you for both being so open, because of the world we live in, right? We live in a world where we are taught not to share and not to, count your eggs before they hatch, so to speak. And the reality is, when you trust and you know what you're meant to be doing, everything that happens falls into place exactly how it's meant to. There is no right or wrong. You don't fail. You're learning and you're experiencing exactly how you're meant to. So I thank you both for being so beautifully open. And please reach out when you have questions and with anything. And we'll tell the story together if you'd like that. I'd love that. I think our audience would love that. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, you guys.
And would you also like make a podcast about the conscious pregnancy?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Your whole way through. I think if we did one every couple months, we'll do it together. We'll tell the story. We'll do through the pregnancy and through how to prepare for the birth, and then the birth. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. And I'm sure that everyone's going to want to meet this beautiful angel that you guys are bringing into this world too. If you'll be so kind as to introduce us once the baby's born, and you guys are ready, of course. But yeah, let's do this journey together.
Yes. No, thank you a lot for your wisdom.
My pleasure. Absolutely. You guys are wonderful. And it's been a pleasure to meet you. Thank you.